aneurysm because you opted the posterior approach for the large aneurysm? And what is your trick? Because in this large aneurysm, uh, our general belief is it is the best is a short bypass.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Musad. Actually, I mentioned posterior approach only to mention it. I never did it. I remember I saw it once in my life in 1974. I was assisting my old professor Albert Khalil in 1974, and it ended by ligation of the aneurysm. But I mentioned it only to mention.
So, is it the stenting of the popliteal aneurysm or the exclusion and the bypass is the first choice for this aneurysm that Dr. Rafat presented? And he used to put 5 stents.
The problem of popliteal aneurysm is the distal embolization. Most of the patients come to us with distal embolization. So endovascular treatment, I don't think it's the idea because we have to clear the vessels from the distal emboli and then repair the artery with a bypass graft. The knee is not the suitable position for a stent graft. So I think the surgical approach is the best for popliteal aneurysm to clear the circulation from the distal emboli and to put graft that's suitable for the bend of the knee.
One more thing, Dr. Ashraf, is that when you implement kind of endo for popliteal aneurysm, first you have to clear the distal outflow by thrombolysis. This is the first thing to do just before you put your stent. The other thing is that in the beginning of our endo practice, I used to do endo.
Thrombi in the bifurcation, distal aneurysm, and I use usually to get this thrombi by focus. But this patient is a friend of mine, and he is stated either to have amputation when the aneurysm is thrombosed or to try to do him the endovascular. And he was ready to pay for the 5 superior and the 5 types of stent. But I agree with you. First of all, surgery is the main initial solution, and the choice between surgery and stent is individually for every patient. I insisted that this patient, after 2 years, he came for the surgery because the aneurysm was very, very close.
Thank you, Dr. Rafat. Our next speaker, Dr. Ahmed Naga, will call you to the podium, please. You have a question from Dr. Sameh.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for your excellent presentation. But you know, I have a lot of cases of popliteal occlusion, and I have tried what you have done. But I found that the best thing is to do jumping graft from the start to save the time to have a pittance rate higher. If you are going to do popliteal exploration and trial of thrombectomy and endarterectomy, the prognosis was bad. At the end, I found that jumping graft, vein graft is the best for the patient and for me. And save time, pittance rate high, and the patient will have a good result.
Thank you for the comment. I cannot agree more. But what if you don't have a vein? What if you don't have a vein?
From the other side. From the other side, but the patient has a vein. The patient proximal part of the vein, top end. No synthetic graft was jumping graft from the other side. Bilateral.
On the other side, on the same side, the great stiffness was 1.5 millimeters all through. The left side was already harvested for the left popliteal open aneurysm. So he didn't have any leg veins. That's the problem. Thank you.
Can I ask?
Our, for the sake of the time, we have to conclude our. Dr. Hussam Raslan, his case of occluded superior stent and explantation of such stents. Do you have any question? Dr. Magdi Haggag, you have questions for Hussam? For the explanted superior stents?
هو يعني after explantation of the stent الستنت بيعمل endarterectomy والصورة اللي عملها بعد الاكسبلانتيشن دي بقيت بلاكس كانت موجودة في الارتري. فأنا بستغرب إنه عمل الأنجيو وشافها ولا كأنها موجودة وقال لك ما فيش ليميتد ما فيش فلابة ريستريكت الفلو. لا أنت مش في فلابة ريستريكت الفلو، أنت لسه بقيت اندارتريكتومي ما كملش فتكمله فوق. أنا بس ليا عتاب على اللي بيلعبوا في الاس اف اي كتير. الاس اف اي is a shit artery, is a fucking artery in Friday. This artery you don't have to play too much with that. And even with the guy who was endarterectomy for the calcified vessels in the previous session, you open up a segment for the inflow, and then you open up a segment distal for the outflow. And in between this road is a rocky road, don't touch it, just use the graft. We used to do such things in the past because we don't have graft, we don't have anything. We use all the facilities in the patient. But now the technology and the previous or the old standard techniques, they are mixed together. You have to decide from the beginning, you are going to do open or to do endo. This hybrid is balancing on the road. Just make your decision clear before you say at the end we change the plan, and something like that.
I agree with you, Professor Haggag, because during my residency between 1973 and 1977, I was assisting my late Professor Albert in more than 10 cases of endarterectomy. And up till now, I have the Volmer stripper. 90% of them occluded, and it ended by amputation.
You know those who did endarterectomy now, they don't know that the stripper angle is very important. Whether you stripper with right angle or a stripper.
I have all the type of
they don't know even what stripper they use.
Yes. So vein bypass is now the most easy, sure technique. Professor.
Dr. Assam, do you have a comment? Oh, so my last comment is again about the explantation, and thanks for having an explantation unit in Alexandria University. So the explantation is done so frequently. So I mean, we have to put a stent and then to remove it. You have a very fortunate way to explant the stent because superior stent doesn't express a radial force. If you do this with other stent, this artery will be ripped off.
Okay, thank you, our big professor, Dr. Rafat. Thank you for this very interesting session. الحمد لله النهارده الجمعة عندنا تشانس إن احنا نروح نصلي وندعي ونستغفر على أي تكنيك بنعمله مش مظبوط. إن شاء الله هتبقى حاجة كويسة. وربنا يتقبل إن شاء الله. واحنا عاملين المؤتمر عشان كده على فكرة يبقى عندنا another chance. Please, just before you leave, we will shall meet again at 2:30, please. So we have 30 minutes more.